with the box office champ. We're starting with Barbie. I wasn't quite sure what all the hype was going to be about, but this is one that was very big, very well hyped. And let's talk about this. I'm starting this one out as we talk about Barbie. So Barbie, again, it is written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. It is directed by Greta Gerwig, who I think I saw set the record for the highest opening box office by a female directed film at
Okay.
$155 million this weekend. Anyways, so this tells a story of Barbie and Barbie Land, and there are many, many Barbies, but the main Barbie is stereotypical Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, and her Ken, played by Ryan Gosling. You have other Barbies played by Issa Rae and Kate McKinnon, Alexandra Shipp, Emma Mackey, all sorts of different people that pop up and play other different Barbies. Dua Lipa is a Barbie. And then you have some other ones in here. Then your main Kens are Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, who looks like he was born to play this Barbie, and Kingsley Benadir, who also is amazing. I mean, Malcolm X, Bob Marley, and Ken from Barbie. I mean, how much more iconic can you get than Kingsley Benadir right now? Anyways, so they're living out their life in Barbie Land, where Barbie runs everything because it's Barbie Land, and Barbie is president, and Barbie is lawyer, and Barbie is Supreme Court justice, and Barbie rules everything. And what does Ken do? Ken is there to be with Barbie, and unless Ken gets noticed by Barbie, Ken has a bad day. And this is the dilemma we find Ryan Gosling in. Ryan Gosling's whole existence is, can he get Barbie to look his way and for him to be her Ken of the day? Well, eventually, stereotypical Barbie has a little bit of a crisis where she starts thinking about death. She falls off her roof. She doesn't quite know what's going on. And she goes and visits Weird Barbie, who is Kate McKinnon, who obviously, if you're going to have a weird Barbie, it's going to be Kate McKinnon, and says, you got to go to the real world, find who's playing with you, find who's sad, and try and make her happy. Well, she gets to the real world and realizes that the influence and just inspiration that Barbie was meant to be isn't really what happened in the real world, and it's the exact opposite of Barbie Land. Men rule everything, and women are just uh, are sit on the back burner and hope that they can get noticed by their men. And this really throws her off. However, Ken, who comes along, really falls in love with this, and this is where the movie really takes an interesting turn. This is where we also run into America Ferrera, who plays a mother who's struggling with some stuff, and we meet Will Ferrell, who's a CEO of Mattel. This movie, as I was watching it, I kept on thinking it reminded me a little bit of the Lego movie in that it's this branded property, but also fully understands and is able to represent its brand perfectly, and gets like so many little details right of what it means to have Barbie as your main character. But then the movie does something I think is completely genius, and it is able to then uh, come across as with this very strong, inspirational, feminine power movement and message, and it comes across great, and you fully accept it because everything around it is completely ridiculous. I mean, you have beach dance-offs to win the affection of Barbie. You have just absolute absolute just ridiculousness in this movie, and it makes everything that much more acceptable when it gets serious, and it does get serious, and it has a really good message to it. I honestly, I haven't been able to stop thinking about this movie. What, like I said, I wasn't quite sure what all the hype was going to be, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the greatest script I've ever read." And like, it's Barbie. How can it be the greatest script you ever read? And then you watch it, and you see that this movie is really quite brilliant in how it's able to be fun and a popcorn movie, but also make you really think and really feel for these characters, all the characters, not just the Barbies that are hoping that they have some say, or the Kens that feel like they need a little bit of the real world in their Barbie land, in their what was it, Dojo Dojo Casa House. Um, this is
The
one
Mojo Dojo.
Mojo Dojo Casa House. Thank you, thank you. Uh, yeah, this is one of the best movies of the year. It's a 4-star movie. I loved this movie, and if you remember, you go back a little ways. I did also give 4 stars to the Lego Movie, but I think this is better than the Lego Movie. It has a better message. It understands itself better. It actually is real, not just Legos. So there are people who give real performances, and Margot Robbie is brilliant. Ryan Gosling is ridiculous and insane. Uh, 4 stars. I don't know what else I can say. That this movie just it was amazing.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of has the same message as the Lego Movie. It's all just like capitalism sucks, pretty much. Like, I mean, that's both the
I
movies,
mean,
and they both have Will Ferrell.
it's very
But
true. It's very true. Well, we got a comment here from Claire Dundee. It says took the family to see Barbie this weekend. Had a lot of fun with the humor. It is a very funny movie. It really is. It
yeah,
really is. And Adam says that the four of us should have a beach off. I can beat you off right now. That was ridiculous. All right, Todd, what
yeah.
do you think?
Yeah, I like the movie too. I mean, this movie is so weird. Like, I didn't know that it was gonna have like a half dozen song and dance numbers, but I mean, I get it. I
Which were
guess
brilliant.
the from the previews, I thought it looked like a really lame, like another version of Enchanted, and the scenes in the real world kind of were in that vein. But luckily, we didn't linger too much on those, and I kind of like Enchanted, but I mean, this would not have been the way to go with that. But the set design and the vibe and creativity of Barbie Land is what makes the movie what it is. I just don't know why they didn't call it a Barbie World or something like the song. That would have been funny. But
Yeah,
um,
maybe it was trademarked.
yeah, maybe. Um, but I mean, it's able to subvert your expectations almost immediately because the trailers were so off. Like immediately, it has this like heavy-handed social commentary thing, pushes feminism down your throat. But that's kind of the way it needed to be because it's also like appealing to kids, and so like you need to be like pretty obvious when you're like making a movie for kids. In that way, I thought it was also like the Mario movie where it's like this property that's made for young people that all the really young people are going to be into, and the older people who used to partake in that are also going to be into it. So it's going to make it like a shit ton of money, and so that's what happened here too. And obviously, the Leica movie is the same kind of thing. But I think the movie's filled with like annoying characters, but that's sort of the way it's designed, and it works. Like it's really consistently funny, but it is kind of occasionally cringeworthy at the same time. Like there's some really like obvious lines, and I'm just like, I don't know. And why do you even say it like that? It's like it didn't work for me all the time. But for the most part, the writing is pretty good. It's kind of a miracle success of a movie. Like I had no idea this was going to be torching the box office for 150 million dollars, but because of the way it was marketed, like, but people love toys, people love nostalgia, and apparently people just love this movie because it wouldn't have made that much if people weren't going to see it again and like giving word of mouth to other people. And yeah, Margot Robbie is the flawless choice for Barbie. Ryan Gosling would be the greatest Ken you could think of, except that he's so old. He looks so old in this, like, and he's also I could see him breaking character, like when he's like yelling at somebody, he's like also laughing at the same time because of the absurdity of what he's saying. I could see it's almost like one of those moments in SNL where you're just like, and like, I mean, I know that that's not part of the character,
Oh, and
but
he was always the worst in SNL too. He
yeah,
always broke character.
it just seems like a role that was written for Zac Efron. Like, I mean, he would have slayed that role. I don't know why he wasn't in this
Oh,
movie somewhere. Um, I like the yeah Will Ferrell and Rhea Perlman as like the humans, and also
mhm.
America Ferrera, who I didn't know was going to be like the third lead in the movie. Like
She rocked it, man.
I didn't know that she was. I mean, I remember her slightly from the trailer, but it didn't look like she was going to have any real part. It was just going to be like her, like she was like a secretary or something. And my guy Michael Cera, like I don't know, he's Alan, this discontinued toy, and I mean, I thought in some way he was going to have like the save the day redemption arc, but he doesn't. He's just kind of this pathetic little toy, and I mean, he's funny. I was just like, man, Michael Cera, this is what you're doing now. The movie's wild, and Greta Gerwig can do no wrong. She's a great director. I'm giving it. I'm at like 3 stars, it's like a high 3 stars, but I could definitely see myself going back to watch this again because I mean it's just a blast to watch.
Yeah, I saw this on Thursday afternoon. I like caught the very first showtime I could possibly catch of it on Thursday. And yeah, there are parts of this I just haven't been able to shake, and how like I said, I just found it so clever in how they were able to wrap all this together and make it statement while making you laugh at the same time. I mean, that's really hard to do. It's really hard to have a message movie be this fun and this popcorny, and they pulled it off brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't if you're actually bringing, like, a child to this movie, like, I don't know how much they would actually like it. Like, there's a lot of times when I'm just like, "Okay, nothing's really happening right now. This is actually a really serious thing. They're just in, like, a really bizarre looking dollhouse." So, I don't know if that's enough to keep the attention of, like, a child, but
It's not a
but
kids movie in any
it
way.
is PG-13. But, I mean, but I don't think that I mean, I was in the theater and there were some kids in there too. So, it's not I mean, it's one of those things that you would think would be appealing to children.
Yeah, and I mean, it is like, yeah, it's a Barbie movie, but it's really for all those that grew up with Barbie and are now adults. That's really who this movie is designed for. It's not designed for the kids. But again, it might be one of those where there's enough in there that the kids can grab onto. But yeah, it's not really a kids movie, but I can see how a lot of people are taking it as that. Well, yeah, if you're one of the few out there who hasn't seen Barbie yet, go see it. It's totally worth it. It's fun, and like I said, it's gonna make you think. It's got a great message to it, and it is just absolutely ridiculous. The dance off between Ryan Gosling and Simu Liu. I mean, I was in a full theater and everyone just busted up laughing when that started, and it was uh brilliant. It was brilliant. It
Yeah.
truly was. All right. Well, that's Barbie. 4 stars from me. 3 stars from Todd. I have a feeling it'll bump up to 3.5. I think so. I think it will.
Do you think that, I mean, how many song nominations do you think this gets? Like I mean, I think the "I'm Just Ken" song is pretty
That
much like the Manor Muppet of this year. Like,
totally. That's what I was thinking too.
so, I mean, I could see that getting in, and maybe, like, the song, like, the Lizzo song about Pink or whatever, the opening number.
Yeah. I don't know as much about that one because that one is just kind of it's more of a soundtracky song where like she's describing what's actually happening in the scene too. I'm just
Yeah.
Ken. Yeah, you're right. If it gets in, it's the Manor Muppet song. It, yeah,
But I don't know if this is actually a major Oscar contender. I know, like, it'll probably get, like, a costume nomination and a set direction nomination. And songs. I'm not convinced necessarily that it's gonna get into screenplay or picture, but who knows? Like, I mean, if Ryan Gosling's nominated for this, it'd be even weirder than Ke Huy Quan, which I thought was the weirdest nomination in that category I've seen in a long time. So, but Gosling, it's bizarre, but I mean, it works.
it works. It works. I would say I think Margot Robbie might be even more worthy of a nomination than Ryan Gosling. Can you think of a higher war performance than Margot Robbie as Barbie? Like when they even like reference in the middle of the movie that Margot Robbie is the perfect Barbie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, yeah, they're like, yeah, the to the production company, this wasn't this is not the scene that Margot Robbie should be doing as Barbie or something or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
Helen Mirren says.
yeah. Adam says if I'm Just Ken doesn't get the nom, we riot. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's not like we're an Everything Everywhere All at Once fan or something. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, Barbie 4 stars from me, 3 stars from Todd. It's in theaters. Check it out.